The Galactic Academy orientation. The vast auditorium of the Galactic Academy buzzed with anticipation as alien students from 100 different worlds filed in. Tentacles, appendages, and limbs of all shapes and sizes fidgeted nervously as the newcomers found their seats. The air was thick with a mixture of exotic scents and the low hum of universal translators. 6. A bioluminescent, squid-like creature from the water world of Aquarius Prime loosed into a seat designed to accommodate his fluid form. Next to him, a crystalline being from the silicon-based life planet Geodia clinked softly as she settled into place. Across the aisle, a group of fuzzy, six-limbed creatures that resembled animated dust bunnies huddled together, their antennae twitching with excitement. As the last of the students took their places, the lights dimmed, and a holographic image flickered to life at the center of the stage. It coalesced into the form of Arch-Chancellor Vox, a being of pure energy contained within a shimmering humanoid outline. "Welcome, esteemed students, to the Galactic Academy." Vox's voice resonated through the auditorium, bypassing the need for audio systems. "You represent the brightest minds from across our vast universe, chosen to learn, grow, and eventually guide your respective civilizations in the complex dance of interstellar relations." A ripple of pride swept through the audience. Zix's skin flickered with patterns of blue and green, reflecting his excitement. The crystalline being beside him refracted the light in a dazzling display. Vox continued, "Your curriculum will cover a wide range of subjects, from advanced quantum mechanics to the intricacies of multi-species diplomacy. However, there is one subject that I must address specifically, as it has been the cause of much debate and controversy within our academic circles." The holographic figure waved its hand, and a small blue-green planet appeared, rotating slowly beside it. Six felt a sudden chill run through his gelatinous body. He had heard whispers about this world, but never expected it to be addressed so openly. "This," Vox announced, "is Earth. Home to a species known as humans. It is classified as a death world, a planet so fraught with danger that it's almost inconceivable for sapient life to have evolved there. And yet, it did." Murmurs of disbelief and fear rippled through the audience. The dust bunny creatures huddled closer together, their fur standing on end. "Earth will be a significant focus of your studies," Vox explained. "Not because we expect you to visit. Indeed, many of you would find its conditions lethal, but because understanding the humans and their world is crucial to understanding the shifting dynamics of our galactic community." Images began to flash in the air around Vox, scenes of Earth's varied and often hostile environments. Stormy seas, erupting volcanoes, arid deserts, and frozen tundras. The alien students watched in horrified fascination. "The humans have not only survived these conditions, but have thrived," Vox continued. "They've developed technologies, cultures, and adaptabilities that many of our scientists are still struggling to comprehend. Their inclusion in the galactic community has been controversial." Zix noticed movement at the back of the auditorium. A group of bipedal creatures had entered quietly and was standing in the shadows. Even from a distance, there was something unnerving about them. They looked soft, vulnerable, and yet they stood with a confidence that seemed at odds with their apparent fragility. Vox seemed to notice them too. "Ah, perfect timing. Students, we have some special guests with us today. Please welcome the Human Exchange students who will be joining you for this academic cycle." The lights came up slightly, illuminating the humans. There were gasps and murmurs throughout the auditorium. Zix stared in fascination. He had seen images of humans before, but never in person. They were so alien. One of the humans, a female with a mane of red hair, stepped forward and waved. "Hi everyone." Her voice carried clearly across the room. "We're really excited to be here and learn alongside all of you. Don't worry, we don't bite. Much." She grinned, revealing flat, white teeth. The joke, meant to break the ice, instead sent a shiver through many of the alien students. The idea of a creature using its mouth for communication and consumption was unsettling to many species present. Vox quickly took control of the situation. "Yes, thank you. Our human guests will be an invaluable resource in your studies. Now, let's move on to discuss the rest of your curriculum." As Vox began detailing the various courses and expectations, Six found his attention drawn back to the humans. They had taken seats at the back, looking remarkably at ease, despite being surrounded by creatures that must have seemed as strange to them as they did to the aliens. The crystalline being next to Zix leaned over, her facets glittering with curiosity. "Have you ever met a human before?" she whispered. Zix rippled a negative response. "No, but I've heard stories. They say humans can survive conditions that would kill most species, that they actively seek out danger for something they call fun." "Impossible," the crystalline being chimed softly. "No sapient species would evolve such reckless behavior." Yet, as they both glanced back at the humans, who were now chatting amicably among themselves, Zix couldn't shake the feeling that they were in the presence of something both wondrous and terrifying. The orientation continued, with Vox outlining the various facilities of the Galactic Academy: libraries containing the accumulated knowledge of 1,000 worlds, laboratories equipped with technology beyond the dreams of many civilizations, and recreational areas designed to cater to the diverse needs of the student body. Throughout it all, Zix found his thoughts returning to Earth and its inhabitants. He had come to the Academy expecting to expand his understanding of the universe, but he never imagined he would be confronted with a species that seemed to defy the very laws of nature as he understood them. As the orientation drew to a close, Vox made one final announcement. "Tomorrow, you'll all participate in your first practical exercise, a simulated emergency situation. This will help us assess your problem-solving skills and adaptability. I suggest you all rest well tonight. You're going to need it." With that ominous warning, the students were dismissed. As they filed out of the auditorium, Zix noticed the human students being swarmed by curious aliens. The red-haired female was at the center, laughing and answering questions with apparent ease. Zix felt a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Part of him wanted to approach the humans to learn more about these bizarre creatures firsthand. But another part, the part honed by millions of years of evolution in the safe, predictable oceans of his homeworld, urged caution. As he oozed his way towards the exit, still undecided, he overheard snippets of conversation from the groups surrounding the humans. "Is it true that you eat other animals? How can you survive with only 2 eyes? What's it like to live on a planet that actively tries to kill you?" The red-haired human was taking it all in stride. "Well," she said with a grin, "that's just another Tuesday on Earth. You should see what we do for fun on the weekends." Six didn't understand the reference, but the mix of awe and horror on the faces of the surrounding aliens told him all he needed to know. Whatever challenges tomorrow's exercise might bring, he had a feeling that understanding humans would be the greatest challenge of all. As he left the auditorium, Zix's skin rippled with a complex pattern of colors, reflecting his turbulent thoughts. He was excited, terrified, and intensely curious all at once. The Galactic Academy promised to expand his understanding of the universe, but he never expected that the most alien thing he'd encounter would be the soft, bipedal creatures from a little blue planet called Earth. The first day at the Galactic Academy was over, but Zix knew that his journey into the unknown was just beginning. As he made his way to his adaptation chamber for the night cycle, he couldn't help but wonder what surprises tomorrow's emergency simulation would bring, and how the humans would factor into it all. The Terran Survival Class. The next morning, Zix and his fellow students gathered in a massive, featureless chamber. The walls, floor, and ceiling were a uniform white, giving no hint of the challenges that lay ahead. The alien students clustered in nervous groups, their appendages twitching and vibrating with anticipation. Zix noticed the human students standing off to one side, looking surprisingly relaxed. The red-haired female from yesterday, he had learned her name was Sarah, was stretching her limbs in a way that made Zix's gelatinous form quiver with discomfort. A holographic image of Arch-Chancellor Vox materialized in the center of the room. "Welcome to your first practical exercise," the energy being's voice reverberated through the chamber. "Today, you'll experience a simulation of Earth-like conditions. Your task is simple: survive." A collective gasp rippled through the alien students. Survive? On a death world? Zix felt his chromatophores flashing in patterns of distress. Vox continued, "The simulation will last for the equivalent of one Earth day. You will face various challenges designed to test your physical and mental capabilities. The humans will participate as well to provide a baseline for comparison." With a wave of Vox's ethereal hand, the white room shimmered and transformed. Suddenly, Zix found himself in a dense, humid forest. Towering trees stretched up towards a blue sky, their leaves rustling in a warm breeze. The ground beneath him was soft and moist, covered in a carpet of decaying vegetation. Zix's sensory organs went into overdrive, bombarded by unfamiliar stimuli. The air was thick with strange scents, and the sounds of unseen creatures echoed through the trees. He could feel the oppressive weight of Earth's gravity pulling at his fluid form, making every movement a struggle. Around him, his fellow students were reacting with varying degrees of panic. The crystalline being he had sat next to yesterday was sinking into the soft earth, her silica-based form ill-suited for the moist environment. The dust bunny creatures were huddled together, their fur matted and heavy with humidity. In contrast, the humans looked excited. Sarah was grinning broadly, her eyes scanning the forest with evident enthusiasm. "Oh, this is great," she exclaimed. "Looks like a tropical rainforest. We should find water and shelter first." Zix watched in amazement as the humans quickly organized themselves and the alien students. They seemed to instinctively know how to navigate this chaotic environment, pointing out potential dangers and resources that the aliens had overlooked. As the day progressed, the simulation threw challenge after challenge at them. The weather shifted dramatically, from sweltering heat to torrential rain. Strange creatures appeared, some curious, others hostile. The terrain changed from dense forest to rocky mountains to arid desert. Through it all, the humans not only survived but thrived. They taught the aliens how to find safe water sources, how to construct basic shelters, how to avoid dangerous flora and fauna. When a simulated predator attacked, a massive, saber-toothed feline that made even the bravest aliens recoil in terror, Sarah and her fellow humans worked together to drive it away using nothing but sharpened sticks and their own loud voices. Zix found himself both terrified and oddly exhilarated. Every moment brought a new challenge, a new danger, yet also a new opportunity to learn and adapt. He watched in awe as Sarah used friction to create fire, a concept so alien and terrifying that many of the students instinctively retreated from the flames. "Fire is one of humanity's oldest friends," Sarah explained as she coaxed the small blaze to life. "It keeps us warm, cooks our food, and scares away predators. But it can also destroy if not respected. Like much of Earth, it's a tool and a danger all at once." As the simulated day wore on, Zix found himself working closely with the humans, learning to navigate this harsh environment. He discovered that his fluid form, while challenged by Earth's gravity, allowed him to access places the bipedal humans couldn't reach. When they needed to collect water from a high cliff face, Zix was able to ooze his way up and guide the life-giving liquid down to his parched companions. The final challenge came as night fell. The temperature dropped dramatically, and strange noises echoed through the darkness. The humans quickly organized the alien students, showing them how to maintain the fire and take shifts keeping watch. In the flickering firelight, Sarah began to tell stories, tales of human history, of great explorers who had ventured into unknown lands, much like they were doing now. Zix listened, fascinated, as she spoke of humans crossing vast oceans in tiny boats, scaling towering mountains, and venturing into the depths of their planet's oceans. "But why?" the crystalline being asked, her facets reflecting the firelight. "Why take such risks?" Sarah smiled, her eyes reflecting the flames. Because it's there. Because we can. Because every challenge we overcome makes us stronger, teaches us something new about ourselves and our world. As the simulated sun rose, signaling the end of the exercise, Zix felt profoundly changed. He had faced conditions he never imagined surviving, learned skills he never knew he needed, and gained a new perspective on the universe and his place in it. The White Room faded back into existence, and Arch-Chancellor Vox reappeared. "Congratulations on completing your first practical exercise," the energy being said. "I hope this experience has given you a new appreciation for the challenges faced by species from extreme environments like Earth." Zix looked around at his fellow students. They all looked exhausted, disheveled, but there was also a new light in their eyes, a mix of accomplishment and newfound respect for their human classmates. As they filed out of the simulation chamber, Sarah fell into step beside Zix. "You did great in there," she said, flashing that disarming human smile. "Especially with the water collection, we make a good team." Zix felt his chromatophores flush with patterns of pride and embarrassment. "Thank you," he managed to say through his translator. I never imagined I could survive in such conditions. How do you do it every day?" Sarah laughed. "Oh, trust me, most of us don't face such extremes daily. But knowing we can, if we need to, it's part of what makes us human." As they parted ways, Zix found himself looking forward to the next class, the next challenge. He had come to the Galactic Academy to learn about the universe, but he was beginning to realize that perhaps the most important lesson was learning about himself and the untapped potential that lay within. The Terran survival class had been more than just a simulation. It had been a journey of discovery, a test of limits, and a glimpse into the incredible adaptability of life. As Zix settled into his adaptation chamber for some much-needed rest, he couldn't help but wonder if this was just a taste of what Earth had to offer, what other wonders and terrors awaited them in their study of humanity. The human history lesson. The following week, Zix and his fellow students filed into a circular amphitheater for their first lecture on human history. The room was designed to accommodate various alien physiologies, with adaptive seating that morphed to fit each student's unique form. Zix settled into a gelatinous pod, his fluid body rippling with anticipation. At the center of the amphitheater stood Professor Xanthar, a respected xenohistorian from the gas giant Jupitron. His vaporous form swirled with shades of purple and blue as he prepared to begin the lecture. "Today," Xanthar's voice resonated through the room, "we delve into the turbulent past of humanity. What you are about to learn may shock you, disturb you, and challenge your perceptions of what a sapient species is capable of enduring and inflicting." The lights dimmed, and a holographic projection sprang to life, showing a timeline of Earth's history. Xanthar began to narrate, his gaseous tendrils gesturing at key points along the timeline. "Humans have existed as a species for a mere blink of an eye in cosmic terms," he explained. "Yet in that short time, they have experienced more conflict, disaster, and upheaval than many galactic civilizations face in millions of years." Images began to flash before the students. Ancient battles fought with primitive weapons, massive ships sinking into turbulent oceans, cities reduced to rubble by forces of nature and war alike. Zix felt his chromatophores pulsing with distress at the scenes of destruction. "Observe," Xanthar continued, "how humans have consistently turned their ingenuity towards warfare. They have harnessed the power of the atom, split it, and used it to devastate their own cities." The hologram showed mushroom clouds blooming over barren landscapes. A collective gasp echoed through the amphitheater. The crystalline being next to Zix vibrated in horror, her facets clouding with dismay. "But this is not the end of their story," Xanthar said, his form swirling faster with excitement. "Witness how, time and time again, humans have pulled themselves from the brink of annihilation." The images shifted, showing scenes of rebuilding, of people coming together in the aftermath of disasters. Cities rose from ashes, forests regrew over battlefields, and monuments of peace replaced weapons of war. Humans possess an almost irrational resilience, Xanthar explained. They face extinction-level events as a matter of course. Climate shifts, pandemics, world wars, these are mere chapters in their history, not endpoints. Zix watched in fascination as the lecture continued, detailing humanity's scientific and cultural achievements alongside their conflicts. He learned of their journey from cave-dwelling primitives to spacefaring explorers in an almost impossibly short span of time. As the lecture neared its end, Professor Xanthar opened the floor for questions. The amphitheater erupted with raised appendages and flashing bioluminescent signals. A Geodian student's crystalline voice chimed out first. How can a species survive such constant conflict? Wouldn't they have destroyed themselves long ago? Xanthar's gaseous form rippled thoughtfully. An excellent question. It seems that conflict, while destructive, has also been a driving force in human innovation and adaptation. They have a saying, necessity is the mother of invention. Often, their greatest advancements come in response to their greatest challenges. Zix felt his curiosity overwhelming his usual reticence. He extended a gelatinous pseudopod. Professor, given their history of violence, should we consider humans a threat to galactic peace? A murmur of agreement rippled through the audience. Xanthar's form condensed slightly, a sign of serious contemplation among his species. That, he said slowly, is a complex question. Humans have indeed shown great capacity for violence, but they have also demonstrated remarkable empathy, creativity, and a drive to explore and understand the universe. Whether they become our greatest allies or our gravest threat may depend on how we choose to interact with them. The debate continued, with students voicing both fear and fascination with humanity's tumultuous past. Zix found himself torn, seeing both the terrifying potential for destruction and the inspiring resilience in human history. As the class ended and students began to file out, Zix noticed Sarah and a few other human students standing near the exit. They looked subdued, a stark contrast to their usual energetic demeanor. Driven by curiosity, Zix approached them. "What did you think of the lecture?" he asked, his translator conveying a tone of genuine interest. Sarah gave a small, sad smile. "It's always hard seeing the worst parts of our history laid bare like that, but it's important to remember and learn from it." Another human, a tall male named Michael, nodded in agreement. "Yeah, we've done some pretty terrible things, but we've also accomplished some amazing feats. I like to think we're learning, slowly but surely, to channel our drive into more positive directions." Zix undulated thoughtfully. "Your history is intimidating," he admitted, "but also inspiring in a way. To face such adversity and still reach for the stars, it's quite remarkable." Sarah's smile brightened a bit. "Thanks, Zix. That means a lot. We're not perfect, far from it, but we're trying to be better, to learn from our mistakes. That's why we're here, after all, to understand other species and hopefully create a more peaceful galaxy together." As they walked together towards their next class, Zix found himself reflecting on the complexity of human nature. They were capable of great destruction, yes, but also of great compassion and creativity. Their history was a tapestry of darkness and light, woven together in a pattern that was uniquely, terrifyingly human. The lesson had left Zix with more questions than answers, but also with a growing sense of respect for these strange, resilient beings. As they continued their journey through the Galactic Academy, he looked forward to unraveling more of the human mystery, and perhaps in doing so, discovering new facets of himself and his place in the universe. The Earth field trip. Several weeks into the semester, an announcement sent waves of excitement and trepidation through the Galactic Academy. A select group of students, chosen for their academic performance and adaptability, would be given the opportunity to visit Earth itself. Zix, to his surprise and nervous delight, found himself among the chosen few. As their shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere, Zix pressed his gelatinous form against the viewport, his entire body shimmering with anticipation. The blue and green marble grew larger, clouds swirling across its surface like wispy brushstrokes on a cosmic canvas. Remember, their chaperone, a stern Volparian named Professor Rix, reminded them, you will be under strict supervision at all times. Earth's environments can be unpredictable and potentially lethal to many of you. Stay close to your human guides and do not, under any circumstances, wander off on your own. The shuttle touched down in a place the humans called Yellowstone National Park. As the doors hissed open, Zix was immediately assaulted by a cacophony of sensations. The air was crisp and filled with unfamiliar scents. Strange sounds echoed from the surrounding forests. And the gravity. Oh, the gravity was even more intense than in the simulations. Sarah and Michael, along with a few other human students, were waiting for them, grinning widely. "Welcome to Earth," Sarah exclaimed, spreading her arms wide, ready for the adventure of a lifetime. Over the next few days, the alien students were introduced to a bewildering array of Earth's environments. They trekked through dense forests, marveling at the diversity of plant and animal life. They stood in awe before erupting geysers, the scalding water shooting high into the air in defiance of gravity. Zix found himself constantly amazed by the humans' casual attitude towards their surroundings. When a large, furry creature with massive antlers, a moose, Sarah called it, wandered into their campsite, the alien students froze in terror. But Sarah simply laughed and calmly guided the beast away with nothing but loud noises and waving arms. Humans seemed to have no fear, Zix commented to Michael one evening as they sat around a campfire. The flames danced hypnotically, still a source of both fascination and apprehension for the alien students. Michael chuckled. "Oh, we feel fear all right. We just learn to push through it. Sometimes, the most amazing experiences lie on the other side of fear." As if to prove his point, the next day brought their greatest challenge yet. The group stood at the edge of a towering cliff, gazing down at the rushing river far below. Attached to the cliff was a complex system of ropes and harnesses. "Today," Sarah announced with a glint in her eye, "we're going rock climbing." The alien students exchanged looks of horror and disbelief. Climb down this sheer rock face. Voluntarily, it seemed like madness. Yet, as they watched Sarah and Michael demonstrate the safety procedures and begin their descent, a strange feeling began to stir within Zix. It was a mixture of terror and excitement. With trembling pseudopods, Zix allowed himself to be fitted with a specially designed harness. As he inched his way down the cliff face, every moment felt like a battle against his own instincts. But with each successful movement, each conquered fear, he felt a growing sense of exhilaration. Halfway down the cliff, disaster struck. A sudden gust of wind caught the crystalline student, who had been struggling with the descent. Her silicon-based form, already stressed by Earth's gravity, couldn't maintain its grip. With a tinkling cry, she began to fall. Without hesitation, Sarah launched herself from her position on the cliff, swinging out on her safety rope to intercept the falling alien. In a daring mid-air maneuver, she caught the crystalline being, cradling her carefully to prevent any shattering. As they dangled there, slowly being lowered to safety, Zix felt a profound shift in his perception. The humans weren't just reckless thrill-seekers. They were beings who pushed their limits not out of disregard for danger, but out of a deep-seated drive to overcome it, and to protect others in the process. Once safely on the ground, the group huddled together, still shaken by the near disaster. The crystalline students' facets shimmered with what Zix recognized as their species equivalent of tears. "Why?" she chimed softly to Sarah. "Why risk yourself for me?" Sarah's response was immediate and firm. "Because that's what we do. We look out for each other, no matter the risk. That's how we've survived everything our world has thrown at us." As they made their way back to camp, Zix found himself reflecting on everything he'd experienced. Earth was indeed a planet of extremes, of beauty and danger, of terror and wonder. And humans, it seemed, were a perfect reflection of their homeworld. That night, as they gathered for their final evening on Earth, Professor Rix surprised them all. In light of today's events, the Vulperian announced, "I believe it's time we shared something with our human friends." From a secure container, Rix produced a set of small glowing orbs. These are memory spheres containing the recorded experiences of some of the first alien explorers to visit Earth. "I think it's time you saw how far we've come in understanding your world and how far we still have to go." As the memory spheres activated, projecting holographic images all around them, Zix settled in to watch. He knew that whatever these ancient explorers had experienced, it couldn't be more incredible than what he'd lived through himself these past few days. Earth, he realized, wasn't just a planet. It was a crucible, forging life into forms more resilient and adaptable than anything he'd ever imagined. And humans, they were the ultimate product of that crucible, beings of contradictions, capable of great danger and great compassion, often in the same breath. As the holographic memories played out under the star-filled Earth sky, Zix felt a new understanding dawning within him. The universe was vast and full of wonders, but there was something special about this little blue planet and its inhabitants, something that both terrified and inspired him, and made him eager to learn more. The Galactic Sports Tournament. As the academic year progressed, excitement buzzed through the halls of the Galactic Academy. The annual Galactic Sports Tournament was approaching, an event that brought together students from various cosmic institutions to compete in a wide array of physical and mental challenges. This year, for the first time, human students would be participating. Zix found himself swept up in the preparations. After his experiences on Earth, he had developed a newfound appreciation for physical challenges. He had even started joining Sarah and Michael for their daily exercise routines, much to the amazement of his fellow alien students. The day of the tournament arrived, and the Academy's massive arena was filled to capacity with spectators from across the galaxy. The events ranged from traditional alien sports to newly designed challenges meant to test a wide variety of skills and adaptations. The first event was a zero-gravity obstacle course. Zix watched in awe as beings of all shapes and sizes navigated the complex maze of barriers and traps. When it was the humans' turn, many in the audience scoffed. Surely these gravity-bound creatures would be at a severe disadvantage. But Sarah and Michael surprised everyone. They moved with unexpected grace, using the lack of gravity to propel themselves in ways that seemed to defy physics. Their performance wasn't the fastest, but it was far from the disaster many had predicted. "How did you do that?" Zix asked Sarah after the event. She grinned, slightly out of breath. "We've been training in zero-G simulators for months. Plus, you'd be surprised how much parkour and gymnastics translate to space movement." The next event was a test of strength and endurance. Competitors had to carry heavy loads across a series of increasingly difficult terrains. Here, the humans truly shone. While many alien species struggled with the changing gravity and atmospheric conditions, Sarah and Michael pressed on, their faces set in determined grimaces. "It's like a walk in the park compared to some of Earth's environments," Michael joked as he easily navigated a section that had left several other competitors gasping for breath. As the day wore on, the humans continued to surprise and impress. They might not have won every event, but their adaptability and resilience allowed them to compete at a level few had thought possible. In a swimming competition, they held their own against aquatic species. In a test of reflexes, they reacted with startling speed to unpredictable stimuli. But it was the final event that truly showcased the unique capabilities of humans. It was a complex, multi-stage challenge that combined physical prowess with problem-solving skills. Competitors had to navigate a series of rooms, each presenting a different puzzle or obstacle, all while under time pressure. Zix watched from the sidelines, his gelatinous form quivering with excitement. He saw Sarah and Michael enter the challenge, moving with a synchronicity that spoke of long hours of training together. They communicated in short, efficient bursts, anticipating each other's needs and complementing each other's strengths. In one room, they encountered a physical barrier that required immense strength to move. Michael, his muscles straining, managed to create a small opening. Without hesitation, Sarah squeezed through, her smaller frame an advantage in this situation. In the next room, Sarah quickly solved a complex mathematical equation, allowing them to proceed while Michael caught his breath. Room after room, they pressed on. Where one faltered, the other stepped up. They used tools in innovative ways, repurposed objects to solve puzzles, and even used their own bodies as implements when necessary. As they emerged from the final room, sweaty and exhausted but triumphant, the arena erupted in cheers. They hadn't just completed the challenge, they had set a new record. In the aftermath of the tournament, Zix found himself surrounded by excited alien students, all clamoring to discuss the humans' performance. Did you see how they used that pole as a lever? I can't believe they held their breath for so long in the underwater section. How did they figure out the color puzzles so quickly? The sentiment was clear. The humans had earned a new level of respect. They might not have the natural advantages of many alien species, but their adaptability, creativity, and sheer determination more than made up for it. Later, at the awards ceremony, Zix watched as Sarah and Michael stood on the podium, accepting medals for their performance. They looked tired, but immensely proud, and rightly so. As the ceremony concluded, Zix oozed his way through the crowd to congratulate his friends. He found them surrounded by a group of alien athletes, all exchanging stories and comparing techniques. "Zix," Sarah called out, waving him over. "What did you think? Pretty good for a bunch of death worlders, huh?" Zix's chromatophores flashed in patterns of admiration and amusement. "You were incredible," he said sincerely. "I think you've changed a lot of minds today." Michael nodded, his expression turning serious. "That's what we hope. We're not here to dominate or intimidate. We want to show that we can work together, learn from each other. Our adaptability isn't a threat, it's an asset for the whole galactic community." As Zix looked around at the mingling athletes, humans and aliens alike, sharing experiences and forging new connections, he felt a surge of optimism. The tournament had done more than showcase physical prowess. It had broken down barriers, challenged preconceptions, and opened up new avenues for interspecies cooperation. The humans have indeed proven themselves on a galactic stage. But more than that, they had shown that the traits that made Earth so terrifying, its challenges, its diversity, its constant demand for adaptation, were the very things that made its inhabitants such valuable allies. As the celebration continued around him, Zix realized that he was witnessing more than just the aftermath of a sports tournament. He was seeing the beginning of a new era in galactic relations, one where the lessons of Earth and the resilience of humanity might just help forge a stronger, more united cosmic community. Part 6. The Graduation Dilemma. As the academic year at the Galactic Academy neared its end, Zix found himself facing an unexpected dilemma. The experiences of the past months, the survival simulation, the history lessons, the Earth field trip, and the sports tournament had profoundly changed his perception of humans and their homeworld. Now, as graduation approached, he and his fellow alien students were confronted with a choice that would shape their future careers and the future of galactic relations. The Academy's Grand Hall was abuzz with excited chatter as students gathered for the final assembly before graduation. Arch-Chancellor Vox's holographic form shimmered into existence at the center of the room, immediately commanding attention. "Esteemed students," Vox began, his energy form pulsating with an air of gravity, "you stand at a crossroads. Your time at the Academy has given you unprecedented insight into one of the most controversial species in our galactic community, humans. Now, you must decide how to apply this knowledge." Vox waved a hand, and holographic displays appeared around the room, showing various career paths and opportunities. Many of you will be offered positions as cultural liaisons, helping to bridge the gap between your home worlds and Earth. Others may choose to pursue scientific research, studying the unique properties of humanity and their planet. And some, Vox paused, his form flickering with what seemed like concern. Some may advocate for limiting human expansion into the galaxy, citing the potential dangers they represent. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Zix felt his chromatophores pulsing with conflicting emotions. He glanced around, seeing similar expressions of uncertainty on the faces or equivalent sensory organs of his fellow students. The crystalline being who had nearly fallen during the Earth field trip chimed softly. But haven't the humans proved themselves as valuable allies? Their adaptability could be an asset in facing unknown cosmic threats. Perhaps, countered a Geodian student, his rocky form grinding slightly as he shifted, but that same adaptability could make them a dominant force in the galaxy. What if they decide to conquer rather than cooperate? The debate quickly spread through the hall, with students passionately arguing both for and against closer ties with humanity. Zix found himself torn. He had come to admire and even care for his human friends, but he couldn't dismiss the potential dangers they represented. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the academy. Vox's form flickered urgently. Attention all students and faculty. We have received a distress signal from a nearby space station. They're under attack by an unknown force. We need volunteers for a rescue mission immediately. Without hesitation, Sarah and Michael stepped forward. We'll go, Sarah said firmly. We've trained for emergency situations like this. Vox nodded. Excellent, but we'll need a diverse team. The station's environment may not be suitable for humans alone. Zix felt a surge of courage course through his gelatinous form. Before he could second-guess himself, he oozed forward. I volunteer as well, he announced, surprising even himself with his decisiveness. Soon, a team was assembled, a mix of humans and various alien species, each bringing unique abilities to the mission. As they boarded the rescue shuttle, Zix found himself next to Sarah. Nervous? She asked, giving him a reassuring smile. Zix's chromatophores flickered with a mix of anxiety and determination. Terrified, he admitted, but also excited. I think I'm starting to understand why you humans seek out challenges. The rescue mission was harrowing. Upon reaching the space station, they discovered it had been attacked by a previously unknown predatory species, crystalline entities that fed on energy and were attempting to drain the station's power, putting the lives of everyone on board at risk. The diverse team proved to be the key to success. The humans' quick thinking and adaptability allowed them to formulate strategies on the fly. Zix's fluid form was crucial in navigating the damaged sections of the station and rescuing trapped crew members. Other alien team members contributed unique abilities that proved invaluable in containing and ultimately repelling the crystalline attackers. As they worked together, Zix was struck by how seamlessly they coordinated their efforts. Species differences that had seemed so stark in the classroom melted away in the face of a common goal. The humans' courage was infectious, inspiring the entire team to push beyond their perceived limitations. Hours later, exhausted but triumphant, the rescue team returned to the academy. They were hailed as heroes, their actions having saved hundreds of lives and potentially prevented a new threat from spreading across the galaxy. In the aftermath of the mission, Zix found clarity. He approached Arch-Chancellor Vox, his decision made. I've chosen my path, he announced, his chromatophores glowing with newfound purpose. I want to work towards greater integration between humans and the galactic community. Yes, they're different. Yes, they can be dangerous. But today proved that their unique qualities, when combined with our own, can achieve incredible things. Vox's energy form swirled thoughtfully. A bold choice, but one I believe many of your classmates will share after today's events. The rescue mission has shown us all the potential of true cooperation. As graduation day arrived, Zix looked out at his fellow students. He saw not just individual species, but a tapestry of diverse abilities and perspectives. The humans, once viewed with fear and suspicion, now stood as equals, respected for their strengths and accepted despite their differences. Sarah and Michael found him after the ceremony, their faces beaming with pride and friendship. So, "What's next for you, Zix?" Michael asked, ready to take on the galaxy. Zix's form rippled with excitement. "I think the real question is whether the galaxy is ready for us, all of us working together." As they looked up at the star-filled sky, Zix felt a sense of limitless possibility. The universe was vast and full of dangers, yes, but it was also brimming with potential. And with the lessons learned from Earth and its inhabitants, he knew they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The fear that had once gripped him at the thought of humanity had transformed into something else: respect, admiration, and hope for a future where the strengths of all species could be united for the greater good. As the new graduates dispersed, ready to take their places in the grand tapestry of galactic society, Zix knew that the true adventure was just beginning. The universe awaited, with all its wonders and terrors, and thanks to his time at the Galactic Academy and his encounters with the remarkable species known as humans, he was ready to face it head-on.